Roll film. Welcome to Democracy 2.0 with Wayne Bouchard, brought to you on MalcolmPresents.com, the newest uh, streaming service on the internet. Anyway, good afternoon, Wayne. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you, Malcolm? I'm
Pretty
pretty
good.
good this afternoon.
The weather's not that hot over here. I mean, I hear in the other parts of the country they're really suffering. How's it by you?
It's in the mid 90s, maybe.
Mid
So
90s?
yeah, I mean, by our standards where we live out in the country, that's pretty warm.
Yeah, I can imagine. How about the what does it feel like? It feels like in the 90s, or because sometimes with the humidity, it's not the temperature, it's what it feels like.
It feels like um, it feels like it's very hot,
Very hot, yeah.
yeah, and very humid.
That's the thing about being back east. It's not as humid. I'm in Los Angeles. It's not as humid here.
No, it's never humid there.
Oh,
Well,
there are
seldom.
yeah, there are times, but not as it is in New York or especially Florida. I remember I go to Florida. I used to would get off the plane and it would be like a wet blanket hitting me.
Oh, I hate that. I really do. I despise going to Florida in the summertime.
Yeah. But anyway, what is on your mind for today?
Well, you we had talked earlier, and you had suggested that maybe we talk about Nancy Pelosi and her trip to Taiwan. And I believe earlier today she was in South Korea. Her and an entire delegation of House members went to the demilitarized zone. And I was kind of surprised that we didn't hear anything from Trump's buddy, his um, his pen pal there.
His love mate,
Yeah,
the
his soulmate.
soulmate,
Soulmate. What's his name? We haven't heard from him in a long time.
Kim Jong Un, or
Kim Jong Un. Yeah.
is it Un? Or I always forget because they all sound the same. Him and his father.
Well, I think I don't think you could say that they all sound the same, but
Well, I can because I'm not on a major network, so they can't kick me off. And this channel, is mine. I didn't say they all look the same
okay.
because I know he looks totally different. What's
So
who's
there
the
was a
big
big
guy?
there was a obviously a big controversy over that. The Chinese Navy fired some live missiles around Taiwan today. Japan complained because one of them came close to Japan. So we had a major international incident, and there's a whole mixed bag of theories and philosophies about whether or not the Speaker of the House should have gone to Taiwan at all. And this is one of those things. I think you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't, because
Well, I think once she announced that she was going, they couldn't have backed out. Once
correct, exactly.
once she announced that she was going, and China said what they would do, then Biden could not have backed out and say, oh, no, we're gonna. Oh, okay, you feel that way? We're not gonna send her there. But the question is, I assume the speaker spoke to the president before she went or before she announced that she was going. And I don't know if he agreed or
I have to believe that the State Department and the president's not economic council, but national or world affairs council.
Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, and all those.
Yeah, all those people had to be in the loop before they made any kind of an announcement.
And
But
did
the benefit of that is that her office made the announcement, and when the proverbial excrement hit the air conditioner, everybody else said, "Oh, wait a second now, time out. Maybe we ought to rethink this." And of course,
Well,
that's that's the president's prerogative, I
yeah,
guess.
but then I think that's a big public relations boo-boo, or more than a public relations boo-boo.
Sure.
It's like you open your mouth before you thought.
Yeah, but you never know what the reaction of the other side's going to be.
Well, you pretty much you knew the reaction of what China was going to say, because they are very much defensive about Taiwan. They want it back, and we know that.
Well, Taiwan represents probably the single largest manufacturer of
The computer chips, I think.
computer chips, microprocessor chips that we have, and I personally I think we should be moving all that business back over here and getting it out of Taiwan before the Chinese do anything, stupid or let's say nationalistic with regards to Taiwan. So they're not going to sit idly by and let that whole issue of Taiwan's sovereignty just sit there. Not for very long. The stronger they get militarily and economically, the more pressure they're going to put on.
Yeah. Heard something about I just in passing today about the China is making some sort of provisions for reducing the carbon footprint. Did you hear
Really, I
anything
didn't
about
see
that?
that. Did not see that.
Yeah. I heard it, but I didn't have time to go into it.
I read um, I read yesterday, and I didn't follow up on it today because I had a very hectic schedule today. But it was an article on NPR, so I kind of trust that there was some significant merit to it. There was an American company owned by a Chinese nationalist who had become an American citizen. Um, they were working, and they got a significant amount of money from the Department of Defense to develop this battery. And it ended up being, and I can't remember for the life of me what type of battery.
The lithium battery.
No, it had nothing to do with lithium. It had some other chemical.
Mhm.
Um, and they had a unit that was as big as a refrigerator, but it could power an entire house.
Wow.
And so it had some significance. Long story short, they couldn't raise enough money in the U.S. They went over to China. They got more money. The Chinese, the interesting thing was there was no venture capitalists that would fund them because they couldn't show a near-term profit while they were developing the battery. So they had to go to China. Our system only rewards companies that can make a profit in the next quarter.
Yeah.
They're not anyway. So this now the Department of Defense, of course, wants this company back
But
in this
it's
country.
too late.
It's kind of late, but there's a big legal battle going on. I'm going to have to look that up and get some more information about it.
Well, this whole thing, what's now with the shortage of everything, and everything
Mm-hmm.
is being produced out of the country, it's sort of like our big business has screwed up. We were not prepared for anything.
Well, if you understand how American corporations work, you've got a board of directors and a bunch of corporate officers, and they're incentivized by making profits, and it's one quarter to the next. So when XYZ company can find a cheaper source of of labor and make a significant increase in profit by doing absolutely nothing. Requires no brain power on the part of any of the corporate officers, but they all make millions of dollars in corporate bonuses as a result of this increase in profit.
Well,
So they're incentivized to make money.
yeah. Well, they make billions of millions of dollars or billions of dollars, even if the company is not making a profit.
And that's also true. That's also true.
It's you win if you gain and you win if you lose.
But I think people here, think that, well, the Chinese stole this business. The Chinese didn't steal this business. We gave it to them.
They invested in it.
And they invested a lot of money in it. Yes.
Well, the thing which I want to talk about, actually, I haven't heard about it this week, but the Chinese are buying a lot of farm property in the U.S. Mm-hmm. And I think there was one like 100 acres or over that was next to an Air Force base. And the Defense Department or the State Department was really bitching about it, but I haven't heard anything further.
Mm-hmm. I don't know anything about it.
Do you think foreign countries should be able to buy property in the U.S.?
It depends on what it is, and it also depends on who it is.
Well, I know years ago when I first came to LA, after about 10 years, they said, the Japanese did not have to bomb Los Angeles anymore because they own it, right?
Right.
They lose too much property.
Right. I don't know. I don't think we should sell off our farmland. And, I believe in, local, the local farmers and regional farms rather than these big agribusinesses.
Well, that's another thing.
That's a whole other issue.
Yeah, I never could see why they gave the agribusiness money not to grow. I don't see why they wouldn't give them money to grow and then take that food and feed foreign countries.
That's old pork barrel issues.
Yep.
Some senator made a deal with another senator. That was when they used to make deals.
Well, it's funny. I'm watching this show, Veep. I don't know if you've ever watched it.
Yes.
I mean, it's crude and it's, it makes a parody of it. But basically, it talks about one senator, washing the hands of another senator. I'll vote for your bill. You vote for my bill.
I remember years and years ago thinking how strange this bill was that I was looking at. And this is when I was really very active. And it was a bill, and it was co-sponsored by Strom Thurmond and Ted Kennedy. Talk about strange bedfellows.
Yeah, the odd couple.
Yes. Two the opposite ends of the political spectrum, but they had common ground because this was an issue that affected both Massachusetts and I can't remember where Strom Thurmond was from. I think South Carolina or North Carolina.
One of the southern states.
One of those Carolinas. But that was unusual.
But it was fun. There was a chapter of what it was where they were trying to find out what to cut in the budget.
It wasn't that. It was some meaningful piece of legislation.
No, they were trying to get the funding in Veep, and they decided they were going to cut some sort of military battleship or submarines that was built in right. the plant, and it was like $500 million. But the thing is that the Navy didn't want them, the submarines. But it turns out that the factories were in this senator's backyard.
Right.
It's not that they needed it or they wanted it. It gave work for the people in that state. So they voted for it.
They gave jobs. Right.
It's weird. Politics is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking about politics, what do you think about the vote in Kansas?
I thought it was very interesting, and I believe that all these political analysts will spend the next 2, 3 months, whatever it takes, to analyze the actual vote and where it came from and who voted. I did see some preliminary data last night, that the the percentage of registered Democrats turned out in an enormous crowd of people for a primary election and voting on an issue, on a ballot issue, which most people could care less about.
Right.
I think the percentage of Democrats was up 67% from a regular primary, and the percentage of Republican voters was in the 40 percentile range. So that's a big chunk of people that decided to come out and vote for something in a primary election, a ballot issue that they normally probably wouldn't even vote for, or even go to the polls.
But will this carry over to the November elections?
I think the Democrats are hanging their hat on that and the strategy that they tried to actually support some of these radical Republicans so that their theory being it's going to be easier to defeat them than a regular centrist run-of-the-mill Republican.
Was that in Kansas? Or that was all over?
Arizona, Michigan, they supported that one guy who ran against one of the Trump impeachment guys, who was apparently a reasonably good congressman, but the Democrats supported the crazy on the way to the right.
Yeah, the election.
And he won. And Trump supported him too. And the Democrats were, like giving money and, and touting it. Yeah, they wanted this guy to win, so they had an easy seat to pick up. That whole strategy may backfire on him.
Yeah.
We may end up with a bunch of crazies in Congress.
They had I think I saw on CNN or MSNBC when they did a poll, and it said that the people in Kansas during the election would vote. I think it was 70% for a Republican and 30% for a Democrat. But now, if the Republican was anti-abortion and the Democrat was pro-abortion, I think it turned out like to 80-20 in favor of the Democrat, which is huge numbers.
Yeah, that was. I think you're going to find that. There are going to be a lot more. There's going to be a lot more voting state by state on that issue. And then, did you see today where the governor of Florida, what did he do? Suspended, I guess. I think maybe the phrase is suspended his attorney general for lack of support for the abortion laws in the state of Florida.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Well, he is weird.
Well, he's a polished Trump.
But I spoke to people say, "Gee, I like what he did in Florida."
What?
I don't know, but I heard people say it. With being a big thing of the Democrats is they're soft on crime.
Mm-hmm.
And
they always get stuck with that label because of a lot of times because of stupidity.
Yeah, it's they don't. I would fire whoever's a Democratic PR company. I'd fire them. They got to get more people.
Whoever came up with that defund the police slogan should be taken out back to the woodshed.
That probably was the Republicans.
Yeah. So speaking of taking people out back to the woodshed, let's talk about Alex Jones for a second.
Alex Jones.
There has to be a special place in hell for guys like Alex Jones.
Well, it was amazing, yesterday, if you I think it was yesterday where you heard him say, "Well, that's not real. I'm 100% that there was a shooting, that it was
Yes.
staged." And
And how many years has it been? It's been 10 years at least.
yeah, I think there has to be some sort of, criminal charges against them. I don't think they're doing anything about that. This, I think, was purely civil.
I don't think it's against the law to lie.
I don't know, but maybe lie over the airways. But I don't know if he's using the airways or it's texting or some other thing.
And if they get, let's see, no, if they get a positive verdict and they're awarded $150 million, does that pay for all the pain and suffering? I thought that one woman, that one mother of that son, how she kept her composure while she was on the stand talking to him. She talked directly to him, and how she was so quiet and so direct and just so uh, you know I don't know, the word escapes me that could describe how she approached him, but she was a phenomenal witness. And but how she could keep, I would be in the courthouse reaching over the desk choking the guy.
Yeah. Well, it's unbelievable how his followers, persecuted all these parents,
Yeah,
calling them, making threats, and
and they're
it,
still doing it. Not
it,
It's not in the
it,
past tense.
it's like
They are still doing it.
it's like the guy that went to the pizza place in Washington D.C. because they were doing child porn.
Yeah, and in the basement, and there was no basement.
Right, with and that was Hillary was heading.
Right.
I don't see how people think. It's amazing how they can think like that.
I think um, the jury just came back and is awarding uh, monies to people now.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's going to claim bankruptcy anyway if he hasn't already, and I don't know how much money they're going to collect unless there's somebody behind his broadcast or the network or whoever was airing it, whether they're liable.
Well, that one voting machine company is suing Fox for a lot of money. Uh, what is the name of that company? Dominican
Yeah,
voting
Dominican.
machine company?
Yeah, the Dominican. Yeah, they're but Fox has deep pockets. Isn't that
Yeah,
Alex
but
Jones?
still, a couple of $1 billion is still a lot of money.
Yeah, but they have it.
Yeah, they have it.
I
That's
mean
the issue.
that's Rupert Murdoch. I mean, of course he
Yeah,
has.
yeah.
You
They
know,
have the money.
yeah, I don't think where this entire where the Fox where the entire Murdoch dynasty is at fault, but Fox certainly is part of the Murdoch Corporation. I
Hmm.
don't know how it's incorporated or what, but they probably have this sort of limited liability.
Hmm.
But it's a weird world out there. It's much more complicated than when you and I were kids.
Oh yeah, things were simple. There was, things were much, much more black and white than
Yeah.
they are today.
And going further along in the news, how about the our basketball player,
Brittany
Brittany, who was Grenier? Grenier?
Griner, yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure.
She was sentenced to 9 years in prison, which I think is the top penalty.
I'm not sure how much of this stuff she had.
I think
Um,
it was 1 ounce or 1 gram of
I think it was a liquid.
Yeah, but it was sort of minor.
Yeah. But the other part of that is, and I'm surprised no one brought this up, that they manufacture today this CBD oil
Yeah.
for pain, but they extract the THC from it, which is the stuff the chemical that makes you high, or stoned, whichever you prefer. Um, so why didn't she have that if it was for pain? Why did
I have no idea. I'll have to speak to her. But what's funny is now especially like I don't know about New Jersey, but in Los Angeles, uh, recreational marijuana is legal.
It is in Jersey too.
Okay. But you know something, and as a teenager in New York, I used to smoke marijuana. I haven't done it in a
Mhm.
long time, but part of the trip of smoking marijuana was that it was illegal, so it made it look more daring.
Yeah.
Now that it's legal, it's sort of like no fun.
Oh, fun. What do you got? What do you got that's illegal?
Right. Well, number one, I think all narcotics should be made legal. I don't see why it's not, because you're not going to get more people like taking heroin if it was illegal. But what you would do is cut down the cost of heroin. Now, if they had places that person could register as a heroin addict, that he could go in once a week or once every 2 weeks to get the heroin for no cost at all, and maybe even go to a therapist, it would take out the major crime of heroin, because most of the addicts basically do the crimes to get money to support their habit.
Yeah, but that's not uh, as prevalent as it used to be because the price of heroin has really gone down. I think the thing that as a nation that we have to come to terms with is that addiction is an illness and it has to be treated like any other illness. Um, we need to be able to take care of the people who are physically addicted to these drugs. We don't have the mental health facilities that we once had in the country. Um, if and the other side of the coin is that all these detoxes and treatment centers are run by I mean they're funded by insurance money.
Yeah.
So you got the insurance industry involved in it, and they say, no, we're not going to, that person shouldn't have treatment, or no, we're not going to pay for that. So now you have all these treatment centers. They won't pay for extended periods of stay. So they take them in for, 4 days, 5 days, or a week, and then they're put out on the street again. And the treatment facility, they're not making any money, so they give them all kinds of medication to
Mm-hmm.
make more money because this is America. It's all about the money. They're you
Yeah.
know they're
Well,
corporations. They
hold
got to
on
make
for a
money.
minute. Hold on for a minute.
Yeah.
What?
Can you
Oh,
take a minute?
keep on hold.
Can't.
Oh, anyway, I'm going to have to cut the thing short. I just got an important message.
Okay.
Okay. And I think
Yep.
our time is almost up.
Okay. All right. All right,
Okay.
Malcolm. Take care.
Anyway, have a good week and we'll see you next week.
Good luck with the message.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
All
No,
right.
it's from my doctor, and I had called him. I'll let,
Okay.
I'll let you know what it is.
Okay. Take
Bye.
care. Good luck.